within this webinar series. And so for today, I'm pleased to invite our speaker, Madam Carol Koome. She's the CEO and founder of CK Consulting. I know she'll talk a bit about herself, but just to mention a few things, she's a multiple award-winning financial advisor, licensed insurance agent consultant, and entrepreneur with over 20 years experience in sales, ICT, banking, and insurance. And today she'll be telling us all about women and smart money moves. I know she has a lot lined up for us. This webinar will take about 50 minutes. We had scheduled 1 hour, but now it's 7 minutes past. So we have about 50 minutes. We'll have an exciting conversation with Caroline and, of course, time for questions. So Carol, over to you. You let us know at what points you want us to share your slides.
Okay. Good evening, girls. How are you? My name is Carol. Class of 95. Materi girls are much older than most of you, I'm sure of that. And I'm very pleased to be presenting this tonight, and I hope it will change your life. For me to be where I am is because I have gone through many ups and downs, many businesses, many things, many careers. So when I speak to whoever I speak to, I speak with authority because I have gone most of these cycles and I have seen what can happen. So in life, we are told, do not reinvent the wheel. If you have somebody to lead the way, please just follow. Don't try and do the same mistakes that we did. And I love working with women. I love working with women because our challenges are unique. Our challenges are unlike others. We are disadvantaged in most ways. Most of us who are on top of our career will tell that you work 3 times harder than our male counterparts. You have your family, you have a husband, you have children. So you must have your head on your neck and shoulders for you to actually progress in everything you do. Thank you again, Evelyn, for the opportunity. Please, let's start this, and I hope it helps somebody. Go on with the slides. Our topic today would be empowering women through financial literacy. What am I saying? I'm saying we need to take control of our future. Let me tell you guys, money is king. Money is king in everything that we do. At no point will you ever be noticed. Will you ever be recognized? Will you ever do anything that you want without your money or the finances in place? Most mental issues in a workplace, I'll tell you the truth, are caused because we are working. The money we are earning is either not enough, is not giving us the satisfaction we want, and we feel very dissatisfied. In the process, it affects our mental health. Let's go. We as women, in the second slide, face unique financial challenges. You will find that you are an accountant, but your male counterpart earns 3 times more. Why? You're doing the same job or even many more, but perception. People give you that woman thing that so because you're a woman will earn like 100 shillings, 100,000 less. And that this is not in Kenya. This is a statistic across the world. We face our challenges in our career breaks. Let's say you are pregnant. You're going to go home and give birth, take care of our children. You're pregnant, you have this family, you have marriages to do. Those breaks affect us in ways that we cannot be able to explain. Some of us are in marriages that are not functional. You are married, but you're literally everything. Or you are married and you're not sure whether you're the man of the house or the woman of the house. So as a woman, you find that you have so many issues that you gamble with. And for you to do this, you must have everything right. You must know how to plan. You must know how to do what you have to do so that you are able to function normally. Another thing you need to understand is financial independence is key and essential, and is actually the most long-term thing you can ever find yourself for. For you to know that 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm able to give myself the kind of life that I would want to live, the kind of life that I desire, the kind of life that I deserve, because I have worked hard, I have passed my exams, I have done all these things, I am top of my career, but my money is all over, you know? So this is some of the things we'll be looking. Then you will find that even if you look back in the villages, if we look even if with our relatives, you find that men die earlier, meaning we have a longer lifespan as a woman. So how do you sustain that? My dad died 17 years ago. My mom is still there. You can imagine if you're not planned or you do not have money to sustain you for all those years, what happens? How does it go? Next slide. So today, in our highlights, we are going to look at 3 things, if possible, and if time allows us. We're going to look at what is planning of the money, what is protecting our money, what is investing our money. And in each of them, we'll take a little time to see what we do in each. So, the next slide. Planning entails coming up with detailed financial goals for yourself. All right. What does that mean? It means just like you sit down and say, in my career, I want to finish my education, then I go and do this and I go this and the money that you earn, whether it is 10 shillings or whether it is 1,000,000 shillings, you need to have smart goals for it. And these smart goals mean you must have specific goals. They must be measurable. They must be achievable. Don't put up goals that are all over. They must be relevant to you as a person, and they must be time-bound. What do you mean? It means that if I am here today, I'm earning 50,000. I don't have what we call an emergency fund. I can say clearly that in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm going to build a fund of this amount, say 500,000. That way, you will figure out from the 50,000 I earn, how much do I need to put away every month so that I can achieve my goal, all right? In that case, you have a goal which is specific, it is measurable, it is achievable because you already have an income, it is relevant because you must have an emergency fund in your life, and it is time-bound because you've given yourself a timeline, okay? Next. When we start planning, we must have what we call the goals. They must be either short-term, they must be mid-term, or they must be long-term. Then, when we have our money, there's something that we do that most of us fail. We fail to allocate our money in different things that we need, in the different needs that we want, in the different ideas that we have. Now, there is a formula that most people have found works with us. Most people have found that if you follow this well, and you follow this particular way of dividing your money, chances are you will find financial freedom in the future. So you have an income of 100 shillings. Within this 100 shillings income, you need to learn to divide it into 3. 50% of it should go to what you need, okay? Then 30% of it should go to what you wish to have or you want. And 20% must go to your savings. Please underline the word must. One of the biggest challenges we have is changing our mindset to know that our income cannot do everything. And for us to do what we desire, we need to allocate it to different places. Now, what are our needs? Our needs are those things you cannot do without, right? You cannot do without housing. You cannot do without transport. You cannot do without buying food. You cannot do without healthcare. You cannot do without paying your bills in utilities, your electricity, and all this. So those are needs, all right? Now, the next one is your wants, your desires. What would I do with these desires? I would want to buy a new phone. I would want to build up extra savings. I would want to go for dinner. I would want to do, you do not live a miserable life just because you are saving for the future, just because you want to preserve all this money, you must allocate some of this. Nasema nini? Ni kujipea raha, kujifurahisha kidogo, to reward yourself.
Kuambia
So
mwili
you must,
pole.
sorry?
Kuambia mwili pole.
Ndio hiyo, si ati sasa juu tunaweka pesa tujinyime kila kitu, unakuanga unaonea wengine view sasa wakijienjoy. No, 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 no. Please allocate money for that. And the most important is now our savings, all right? Our savings, and both long term, short term, and mid term, all right? Now, the other thing that we forget doing a lot, next slide, is budgeting. For you to achieve what we have just said up there, you must consciously put down what to do with your money. And please, girls, budgeting does not come after using the money. Unajua unaenda supermarket, ulikuwa na 50,000, alafu jioni ndio unakaa uone ulifanya nini na hiyo 50,000. Does that help you really? I mean, you've already used the money, right? But had you planned your money before, you'd have known, I don't need 3 buckets because I already serve some in my kitchen. I don't have to buy 20 soaps because there are some that remained last time. Budgeting is a conscious way of putting down what you actually need to do with the money. Now, one of the reasons why most of us don't like budgeting, and this is true, including for me, is because hutaki kufinyo. You feel like you're being restricted from using your own money. You do not want the rewards. You don't see the rewards of budgeting, or hata nikifanya budget, I'll still buy what I want anyway. Or I don't want to change my habit. After all, I have done this for 10 years and it has worked. But if I ask you how much you have in your emergency fund, you have no coin. And also, we call something called fear of missing out. Just because you've run a budget and you need to stick to it, kuna vitu zitakupita huko nje when everyone else is doing. No. Please let us learn to put pen and paper down. When that money is coming, you have a week before your salary. You have a week before a pay. You have a week before a check comes. Please be sure what you want to do with that money, so that you are able to allocate it to the most important aspects of your life, or the most important things that you need to do. Hapana pesa ikikuja unanunua nguo ya 50,000 na hujalipia mtoto nini? School fees. Or unanunua kitu yani, something that you really would have lived without, but because you did not think through the whole process, you waste that opportunity. And every month that passes, it means you cannot return the money that you used. True? Next slide. Now, food and water, shelter, utilities, clothing, healthcare, transport, these are things we must have. Whether you have income, whether you do not have income, these are things that you must cater for. So these are the most important aspects of our budget, all right? You must look for a shelter that you feel befits your status. You feel that you can afford. You feel that ukika hapa nasikia vizuri, ni vizuri hapa si niko safe, my kids are living in a good place and all that. Food and water, you must have sufficient of it. Clothing, you must buy. Huwezi enda uchi. You cannot stay with the tattered clothes just because you're saving. No. Healthcare is a must, and it is most important. Please ensure you have, inaitwa SHIP. It was NHIF before. Now it is SHIP, for a bare minimum. If you can't afford the big covers, please have bare minimums. We have small insurance policies that are medical that you can pay even through your phone, the 20 bobs, the MT bus, something that at an emergency, you're able to be attended to. Transport, ensure that you're able to go to work every day. Ensure that you're able to cater for your fuel if you're driving, as in let it not be something that is an emergency. Please plan and plan accordingly depending on your income, all right? Then we have the wants. The 30% we allocate for our wishes, for those things we've been looking at, for those things, ushaipita kwa nguo unaona, hiyo nguo ningetaka kuivaa but I can't afford it. Just plan for it, girls. Put some money away for it. Entertainment and hobbies, please do not refuse to go for holidays. Pea mwili pole, lakini plan for it. Vacations, our wazungu unaonanga hapa Kenya, see ati they are very rich. It's just that they plan and plan and plan and achieve with the long run. So let us learn that there are different things that we want to do. Those luxury items you have always wanted, you can actually have them. The question is, what are the steps are you taking towards attaining or acquiring whatever is it that you have been looking for? Next slide. The elephant in the room, savings. I want to understand how many of us take deliberate attempt to save, and in 2 months you've eaten all your money. I am sure we can all raise our hands to this. One thing I need for you to understand is savings is not about how much money you earn. Savings is about your mindset. Number 2, please understand that having a savings account that you can break any moment is not a savings plan. You can take that to the bank. You hujaijiona umewekea ati unasema hii ni bank ya mtoto, so mi sitaguza. 1 year later, you're the one in Christmas going to ask them for the same money you've been putting aside. Are we victims of that? I am sure we are. So before allocating funds for needs and wants, please separate your 20% for your savings. Try not to use saving funds. Saving funds will be used for the next step. Aim at having at least a 3 to 6 months expense account in case money. I'm sure COVID taught us lessons that we can never be taught by anyone. We never ever knew that you can stay without work. We never knew that you can stay at home without getting out. We never knew that you can stay without employment, that you can work from home. Those are lessons that we were taught. So please learn to put away an amount that can cover at least 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in case something happens. Number 2, do not stay at M-Pesa, I'm able to do it. Please automate your savings. What does automate savings mean? Put standing orders before you touch the money. You know, money expands to fill your need, all right? So as long as you have 20,000 in your purse, for sure you don't need it, you'll buy it, just because you're feeling liquid. But if you have a savings plan and in the morning you put the 5,000 in Naenda, you don't see that money, you will have achieved your objective, but somehow you'll still find something to do with that, about that shoe. So please automate your savings. Don't just you say, my willpower is very strong. Mi mwenyewe nitakuwekanga. Weka standing orders, weka DDIs, weka ways that you are not able to touch that money before it comes to you. Then please differentiate between short-term savings, long-term investments, and savings. All right. Short-term savings, put them in instruments like money market funds, where you are able to put goals of 0 to 1 year. Say, I will buy a TV by end of this year. Open a money market fund for it. Put your 10,000, your 5,000, until December, you'll have your 60,000. You will afford your whatever screen that you wanted. All right. So don't say for long term, please put in instruments you are not able to access. There's no way you tell me you will put up money market fund for yourself so that it could serve in the next 20 years. You will be lying. So as we go on, we'll see the instruments that are able to serve different goals, long term, short term, and mid goals. All right. Next slide. Now, this is something we rarely do, and it's about protection. Protecting what we have already done, what we have already acquired, what we have put together, what even we own. Protection funds are funds that include the insurance aspect. Protection means the health insurances. Protection means in case I'm not alive, what happens to me, to my children? Protection means wezi wakikuja kwangu, what do I do? Will I start? If a fire burnt my place, will I start from square one? Those are some of the things that we are looking at when we say protection. Then we have the funds that we can put away each month. That will help us build our protection fund also. The living expenses we were talking about, like if my job was out today, how would I survive before another job comes in? Or how would I survive before we get a new source of income? Or if I was relocating, how would I survive in my new country? Those are some of the things that we are looking at protection. So when you are looking at your money, please put this as a big factor to consider when you're doing this. Now, some of the kind of protection funds we can put up. Please, next line, Eva. Some of the funds that consist of protection are insurance funds. We have things that we call endowment plans. We have things that we call school, what do you call them? Education policies. We have things that we call money market funds. We have the money market funds go to the emergency fund where the money is accessible but not accessible. Then we have pension funds and also endowments. These take care of our long term when we are past 50 years, when we have retired, when we are not able to work. So what have you put in your finances that will take care of all these aspects? Have you thought about them? Do you intentionally plan or put money away so that all these kind of funds are taken care of? I don't know. Let's think about it. Investments. Investments are places where your money grows. All right? Investments is what creates income, what creates an extra amount on the coin that you have. What kind of businesses maybe are you working on? What kind of financial instruments have you put your money in? Have you bought any bonds? Have you bought T-bills? Do you have any fixed deposit accounts? Do you have any endowment plans? Do you invest in circles for development, funding, and dividends at the end of the year? Do you have any pension funds or balanced hard assets and the cash portfolios? What are you doing about all this? I'm touching on this because when it comes to financial trainings, what you need is for it to be highlighted. It's upon you now to actually look for help to see how well or how best can I plan what I have so that it caters for me and caters for all the needs that were short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Because there's no way one can fit everyone, all right? So once I highlight these things, please make effort to go do a research, make effort to reach out so that we can have a personalized plan for you. We can do an audit for you. We can see where you want to go, where you are, and what we can do about it. Okay? Next. We cannot talk about finances without touching on debt. I know most of us have M-Shwari. Most of us have credit cards. Most of us have 20 apps that finance us. Most of us have circle loans. Most of us have so many unnecessary, I'll call them unnecessary, debt. And this results from not initially planning your money. All right? If you don't have an emergency fund, of course, if an emergency comes, you must sort it. So what do? You rush to the circle, take your loan, and sort out the emergency. That is why there's an emergency loan anyway, for us who are not planning for it. Now, there are different types of debt. We have good debt and bad debt. Cars is not that it's a bad debt as such, but that sometimes we have cars that do not help us. Unaweza pata uko kwa parking, uko na magari 10. Kuna wengine every time we change this, we do this. We have credit cards, and the credit cards ideally are just to finance our lifestyle. So these are some of the bad debts that we actually accumulate as we go on. The good debts are maybe you take some money to fund your education. That means you're likely to get a promotion or to get a better job. You have a loan for your home. It is a good thing because your money is appreciating. You've taken a small loan to start a business. That is an investment. Eventually, this money is most likely to add to your coffers, unlike the others that are taking up your interest. Learn to do, when you talk about compounding interest, let it be compounding on your side, not you compounding on the other side. Because when you have debt, you compound on behalf of somebody. But when you have saved, your money is compounded on yourself. All right? Aya. When you are in debt, what do we do? When you are in debt, doesn't mean that maisha itasonga sasa, ati sasa hakuna kitu itaendelea, now I'm in debt. No. Every debt can be removed, every debt can be paid off, but as we said, it has to be a deliberate action. Number one, know how much and who you owe. Hatupendi kufanya hiyo kazi, hatupendi kuandika, hatupendi put up that list. Then, from our money, especially from the 30%, please put a monthly payment plan. Small amounts make big impacts. And when you finish the small debt that you have, pick the money from the small debt, take it to the next debt. And when you finish the second debt, take the money you are using to pay the second debt to the third debt. And in a span of a very short time, you are likely to find that you are actually out of debt. But when you're out of debt, don't keep going back again, all right? Decide which debts to pay off first, maybe those ones that have very high interest or they have people on your neck throughout. Then pay what you can. Pay what you can. Do not overbear yourself. Let me tell you guys, you can negotiate with any debtor. Na mtu asikufinye. What you can afford, please put it forward and tell them the truth. As in, be truthful enough to tell them, yes, I owe you 20 million, but honestly, I can only afford 5,000 for now until things improve. They won't cut you into pieces, guys. All right? The best thing is you are trying and you're doing it, and one time that debt will go. Now, tap irrational or impulsive spending so that you have even the extra money to keep clearing your debts. All right? Then if you're able to do this, consider debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is where you get one big facility. Please use that facility to pay off everyone else. All right? Usichukue alafu uende ukanunue gari, uongeze debt ingine. Hapana. Ukipata hiyo facility, ensure that you have cleared the debts, then let you continue paying that one, maybe at a lower interest. And then girls, learn to reward yourself for the small steps that you keep doing. In everything that happens, in every step that you move, in every a new thing that happens in your life financially, please learn to reward yourself, learn to cheer yourself up. Now, I don't know if I have gone too fast, but I would want now to hear from the audience so that we can discuss many other issues that they would want clarified from the slides. Any questions, any concerns, then so that we are able to give some quality time.
Thank you, Carol. That was very insightful. I really enjoyed the conversation, especially what you started with by saying money is king, and also the whole aspects around protection. These are things that we never talk about when we think through either life insurance or disability insurance. These are some of the topics that people don't talk about, and I think they're very important. I've also really liked the conversation around debts when you said you can negotiate debts with anyone. Because right now, because of the hard economic times, Kenyans and even other citizens have been pushed to great debt levels. So really knowing how to manage debts and knowing you can negotiate is very powerful. So ladies, we'll take questions. Feel free to type on the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand and mute. Let us know who you are, which class you are in, and you can pose any question to CK. She's a multiple award-winning consultant, CEO of CK Consulting, and we are really honored to have her here. So let's take advantage of this opportunity, the fact that we have her doing this webinar for us. And maybe I can start, CK, as as the ladies try to think through questions, I wanted to ask a question around real estate, because I remember for most of us, when we got into the job market, the first thing people used to say is go and buy land somewhere, 50 by 80, which are being sold, sijui where Kamulu, sijui where, ploti maguta. So everybody just ran to buy land. And sometimes I feel that that kind of move was not well thought out, where most people are just told, okay, go and buy land in some weird place. And there's so many other options that weren't being brought forward to many people when they're starting off, in the workplace, things to do with stocks. You've talked about money markets. So what's the myth around real estate? Is it as good as people think? I know some have said when it comes to either land or housing, sometimes it depreciates. What's your view on that? And of course, it may depend on the different places, but just let us know what you think about real estate, especially land and the 50 by 80s. The 50 by, yeah, that one.
Eva, it's a sad thing, honestly. We have a herd mentality as Kenyans. We tend to move as a herd without thinking through what we are doing, and everything that comes looks very lucrative. Case in point, let's say you have just started working and you have some money to spend, and the only money you can afford is a plot of 300,000 somewhere in Kamulu or some weird place. All right. Now, it takes not less than 10 to 15 years for any land to appreciate and for you to get value for it, especially if you're doing land banking. Now, when you are 25, do you really need to do the land banking, or would you rather put that money in a money instrument that grows it? And at that time, you'll have the capability to actually choose consciously where you'd want to live and put that money somewhere. Those are the things that we don't think about. So I don't say that buying land is bad, no. But before you buy that land, please look at the future, look at the current situation you are in, look at why you're buying that land. Just don't buy it because you're buying it. There are so many factors that you need to consider before. I am 46. I'm soon becoming an empty nester. I am selling the house I have lived in because it does not make me sense anymore. All right. I would rather put that money I will get from that sale in a money instrument, maybe an endowment fund. And when I'm 60, I can buy an annuity that will be me a salary for the rest of my life. So sometimes it also depends on where you are at your life. All right. So much as it's comfortable to have a home, it's comfortable to have this. Realistically speaking, does it serve you when all the 3 kids are out and we are here, none of us knows who is on the other room? Is it really value add to my life? But if I have 1 million shillings and when my arthritis flyers up or some other disease comes, I have some money to go to the bank. How many of you have seen people die with huge plots, huge tracts of land? So when we say money is king, is because yes, own your land, but please learn to balance your portfolio and learn to work at the stage you are in life. I would say that, Eva.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. I'll just read a question on the chat because when you spoke, I had other questions, but I'll give an opportunity to the rest. So I see Juliet Thuo says, hi, I'm Juliet Kimina, class of 2001. Please talk again about the education policy. Is it a good idea to take up? Secondly, where do you recommend someone to invest their pension money? That's from Juliet.
Okay. So, Juliet, those are some of the best things you can do for yourself. I'll tell you one thing, people do not understand insurance and insurance products, and so they have demonized them. I will tell you for a fact, it's one of the only products that actually works, but you must have patience and you must know why you're doing it. So yes, education plans is a very good product to have, all right? Education plans and endowment plans are the best places you can put your money with very little risk, but also learn the small print. whoever is giving you that education plan, make sure you have done your full what? You have to do your full research. I wouldn't talk about what companies out there. Personally, I work a lot with ICA Lion, not because of anything, but because I know I will give you credibility. I'll tell you what I tell you, and it will be done. But yes, those are products that work. So education plan is a good, it protects you, it helps you put away money for the longest time, and it gives you peace of mind. I hope you know how it works. Education plans pay only on maturity, unlike other plans that pay on death or maturity. All right. So as long as you're putting up an education plan, you are sure your child will go to school at some point, whether you are there or not. If at all, whoever is the beneficiary is faithful enough. Yes, I hope I've answered you. What was the other one?
Yes, the other question was, where would you recommend someone to invest their pension money?
When you're looking for what we call an instrument of a pension, I don't know if you already have an existing pension or you want to create a pension, because there are two aspects to a pension. When you have a private pension, I would recommend other tools to grow your pension, because putting away 500 shillings in the name of a pension for the longest time might not help you. If you are in an organization where there's a pension kind of plan going on, then that makes sense, because your money will give you a better return because of numbers. But as an individual, I would look at other products to save for that 20, 30 years so that you are able to acquire the best products. That's why I push the endowment plans for younger people or anyone between 20 and 50. I would recommend an endowment plan to build your pension, because let's say you have put 6,000 every month. For the next 10 years, it's going to give you 1,000,000 shillings. And out of that, yours is 600. You see, you have already built 400,000 from a fund. But if you put the same amount in a pension, it will depend on the market rates. There are pensions that return 1%. There's nothing you can do about it. So we need to sit down and decide, am I doing a pension for me, or is it my organization that is doing a pension? If it's your organization that is doing your pension, then you have very little say about it. But you can beef up your pension using other instruments now outside your pension plan.
Wonderful. And I see a second question from Edna. Edna is my twin sister. So I see Edna is asking, thanks, Carol, quite insightful. What about life insurance policy, which is mostly sold to people as a savings benefit? What are the advantages and disadvantages to look out for? So this is about life insurance policy, and she's saying sometimes it's sold to people as a savings benefit.
It is a savings benefit, Mama. There are different types of policy, all right, in insurance. You can buy a policy for investment, you can buy a policy for planning, and you can buy a policy for protection. Now, when you are buying that policy, if you say what we call now the endowment plans, they're actually investment policies, and they pass for saving plans. You can do your research on that. Endowment plans have high returns. They have life benefit as a benefit. They have tax rebates as a benefit, and they have tax-free maturity. And this is not in Kenya only, it's a product across. If you buy, let's say, a VAT, it's called a VAT, value added term. It is a life policy. There's nothing that you get from it. You just get the protection. In case you die, we pay your beneficiary. If you don't, you're returned for the money. There's something else called a whole life. Whole life, you pay in anticipation of death. It's like, I'm leaving this for my children. So I will pay 10,000 for as long as I live. And that money is what I give them as their whatever, gift or whatever of love. I don't know. That is called whole life. So when you're buying an insurance product, you need to identify your need. You need to know why you're putting it up so that you are matched with the right product for what you want to achieve. But yes, some do pass for saving products.
Nice.
Answered?
Yes, of course Edna is giving a thumbs up. In my mind, I'm like, this is so, like, it's a lot of information. Someone would need to sit down with you for, I think, like
Yes.
an hour or more to just hear about each of these specific items and investments. Because the more you speak, then
Actually,
another question is coming up. The more you speak, yeah.
my shortest consultancies are 3 hours.
Now it makes sense because you said tax rebates. I'm like, okay, what's that tax? So yes, I understand why it can be 3 hours. But yeah, we're taking advantage of having this 1 hour with you. Ladies, are there any questions for Carol? Anything, as you can see, she's an expert on all areas of finance, investment. So if there's something that's been bugging you, feel free to post. I see Anne Baruthi, who is our alumni treasurer. She's saying, thanks, Carol, for the insightful presentation. Back to the question on land. What is your advice for us who already bought land and are not able to dispose? What are some suggestions of less engaging investments we can do with the land?
Wow. You're mainly in that sector where you buy land and you don't know what to do. It becomes debt capital. Well, it's not debt capital per se. At some point, it will appreciate or do something. But now this is where you start becoming more creative. Where is the land? Can you put chicken? Can you get somebody to farm it on your behalf? Can you list it out? It gives you 20, 30,000 or whatever amount it gives you per month. You start making it useful at whatever areas. Most lands that are not sellable or that means it is in the outskirts. So you can go put a perimeter wall around it, put some chicken there, or you can have people living next there to farm and give you little money, as in be a bit creative and have it producing something for you.
That's great. Ladies, any questions? Feel free to raise your hand as you're thinking through other questions for the remaining 10 minutes. Carol, I have a question around tax and registration of trust. Are they called trust funds? Yeah, you know how they keep saying if you're investing so if I'm investing as Everly and if I'm investing as a trust or a foundation or something, you're able to get tax exemptions either at the end of the financial year. What insights do you have around that? Then we'll go to Bridget.
It's true. You do get tax rebates and tax exemptions just because you are a trust. But for you to have a trust, you must have a purpose for it. Also, you can set up a trust in case you have a lot of property or you have property and you do not trust your relatives, your sisters, brothers, and you have all this. You can put it under trust. We help you set up trust at wherever I work. We help you put together the documents required, the reason for putting up a trust, but it is a payable service. So yes, you get tax rebates, but please learn. I know that you pay a little admin fee for having a trust being run on your behalf, but yes, you do get those exemptions.
Awesome. We'll take Bridget. Bridget, feel free to unmute and then we'll go to Juliet's question.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for making this possible. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm having a very bad flu.
Yes, we can hear you.
Carol, thanks for coming through. I'm excited and looking forward to us connecting as we have separately discussed. Maybe I'll start by encouraging all the alumni to book an appointment with you and explore this further. There are so many questions I would have asked. But one of the questions I like to explore in public is when you talk about me rewarding myself. For example, I have used a Katululu all my life, but now it's reached a point, hey girl, just buy yourself a Samsung S24 Plus.
Exactly.
Is this flossing? Is this like I've worked all my life? Hey girl, buy yourself a car. I've used a 18-inch TV since nilikuwa Materi. Some of us are oldies, 93 graduates. Would I be being fussy? Is this a good direction to go? Are there some examples you'd give on rewarding myself that would not also be taking me away from my savings? Thank you.
Bridget, hi. I'm looking forward to meeting you too soon. Yes, please, girl, go right ahead and buy the Samsung. I'll tell you one thing about money. If you become very stingy to yourself, it becomes a burden. You start feeling, really, one of the things that makes money work for you is also a mindset or the mental state. So if you have 100 shillings and you put away 2 bob to cater for your desire and you put it in a long time and you actually buy that S24, why not? You have already taken your children to school, you have paid your rent, you have eaten well. Girl, go right ahead. And that's why we open a money market fund and put it as a goal account. We'll say, I want an S24, it costs me 200,000. I can put away 20,000 and I'll give up, I don't know, my salon bill will cut it into half, or I'll do something different. I will put away this amount for a certain time because I want to do. Yes, go right ahead. December, my bonus, I will buy myself the S Fold. Why not? Usijinyime sana tiju. Hii kazi, pesa utazikwa na yote. So igawanyishe polepole na zile vitu, the things that you desire to have, please plan for them and go ahead and get them. Sawa, Bridget.
Great. So, Carol, before we read out Juliet and Susan's comments.
Sorry, Eva, do you want to allow me just a quick interjection?
Yes, I wanted Carol to also post her phone number and email address as we continue, but you can proceed, Bridget.
Thank you. Carol, let me ask you an awkward question. Yes, I will go ahead and reward myself. Lakini watu watasema nini? This watu watasema nini syndrome, how do we deal with it? The other day, I'm talking out of experience. I went with someone for lunch in a very good restaurant and we ate to our fill. She drank, I didn't drink because I'm on medication. And then at the end of the day, watu wakituona tunatoka hapa watasema nini? So the watu watasema nini syndrome, as we invest, as we save, as we reward ourselves, how do we deal with that? Thank you. And that's my last question, Eva. Thank you.
One thing, Bridget, you have to learn as you grow older, and you are among the older ones here, is at no point usipokuwa na hiyo katululu bado watu wanaongea. Huyu na yeye na ile pesa yote yako nayo, mbona anatumia katululu? Ukinunua hiyo watu wataongea. Huyu na yeye ako wasteful, mbona ananunua simu? So you might as well make up your mind, and you know what? Please yourself, because whichever way, whether you don't have it or you have it, those who want to talk will talk anyway. And if you would live your life trying to figure out what people would say, there's nothing you will ever do. So have your stand. You want a phone, it's your reward. You have worked so hard. I'm sure you have given everyone else money except yourself. You have given in charities except yourself. You have done all these things at home except yourself. Umesomesha mama na your kids except yourself. Now, it is unfortunate that our generation, we were conditioned. And that's why we are finding our kids very selfish. Because our kids, what they want, they want. What they want, they get. It is a whole different generation shift. And I think we might as well start learning amid slowly or late in life to please ourselves. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing which is right for everyone. So, Bridget.
I love
yes,
that.
Eva.
Keep doing you. Carol, I just wanted you to post your phone number and email address, and then I'll read out the 2 remaining questions from Susan and Juliet. But I noticed we are at 5 minutes to the top of the hour. So I just want to make sure that all the participants get your phone number and email address even as we continue. Do you want to post?
The last slide, it has my contacts.
Oh, it has. Okay, perfect. So let me read Juliet's question. Then as you're responding, I'll put up the slide. Let me actually just read the two remaining ones. So Juliet is asking your thoughts on the Airbnb business. Share that with us. And then Susan is asking, what would you say are the must-have insurance products for people approaching 50s or 40s in the context of Kenya? So two great questions.
So Airbnb girl, is it working for you? Are you making money? Let me tell you people, there is no business that is a bad business. As long as that business is able to pay itself, it's able to return your capital and make something on top. Hata kama ni sukuma wiki unauza, please go right ahead and do large scale. So if Airbnb is working for you, please get as many as possible before that whole, fad goes away. Because in Kenya, our businesses are literally seasonal. Today we are doing this, tomorrow we are doing this. So make your money, get out when things are not working. That is my thought about BNB. If it's working for you, make as much money as possible. Be ready when it's not working to cut out and move. Cut your losses. You will already have returned your capital and you have made your money and you go. So it's a business and it's a good business if it's working for you.
Great. Can you see this slide, the slide that has your contacts, Carol?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So ladies, you can be writing down the phone number and email address. There was the other question, I think it was from Susan, where she asked about the policy products that you'd recommend for those approaching 40s and 50s.
If you are in your 40s and 50s, there's one product kindly you must have. It's called an endowment plan. All right. And actually, not for us who are in our 40s and 50s, it's because it is a crash program. See, but for us, it is critical. Why is it critical? We have 15 years to a retirement, and you have absolutely no coin to your name. And where you're going, you will need a lot of money, girls. That one, I promise you. You will need a lot of money. So for you, that's why I'm telling you, at my age, I'm considering selling my house and putting up a plan that in the next 10 years will give me not less than 20 million, which I can buy an annuity to survive on. All right. So if you are employed in your 40s and 50s, please look at your pension statement number 1. So that you are able to extrapolate and see, hapa pension nimepata 10 million. But my lifestyle, I am living at 30 million. How do I build a fund so that by the time I'm out of work, I'm able to have accumulated the 30 million to help you? Those figures might look very big, but to accumulate a fund of not less than 20, you just need 2,000 per day. Most of us blow that money on our M-Pesa. Ukweli wa mambo. But because it is not channeled to a certain objective, it is not channeled to a certain thing that we want to achieve, we do not find it as money. All right. So yes, please have an endowment fund. If you are anywhere above 40, please start looking at your health insurance, because you will need it. You can start small so you don't have waiting periods as you grow older. All right. As long as you're a member of a certain insurance fund, you don't have waiting periods, even if they're called the lifestyle diseases and the chronic diseases come knocking, you are able to be treated because you've been a member for long. So even if you took a small cover and you continue with it as you grow older, then that is something that I would advise. Then please, if you're working, make sure your pension works. Make sure your employer remits. Make sure that money, you see it, where it goes. And then have yourself supplementing with an endowment fund so that you're able to build a fund that makes sense, which we will buy an annuity or a drawdown fund for yourself, which will pay you for the rest of your life.
Wow. Thank you so much, Carol. Can I see the chat when I'm sharing? Let me just see. Okay, great. So we don't have other questions, and I'm seeing it's already 8 p.m. for those of us in Nairobi. Carol, this was so insightful. I don't know how the rest feel, but for me, I have so many questions, and I'm also very challenged and inspired. I like what you said at the end about health insurance, because we forget a lot about that. And yet, as you say, it's easy to get, the health insurances early in life. And even for the older ones, you can still get health insurance at a good price. I like what you shared about protection, about debt, about the policies, about the trusts. That's something that I'll definitely work on, looking at on the issue of trusts, because the taxes size in Atufinya. So any move that you can get to reduce issues of taxes, I think is good. And also really thank you for starting your presentation, even with the basics about finances, what are savings? How do you manage debt? This was really, really great. Ladies, as you can see, Materi alumni are a great talent, very knowledgeable. So we don't want to waste the opportunity of us being in a community. If any of you have great expertise and skills to share in the next webinar series, please reach out to us. We have the alumni WhatsApp group. You can also write to me. I'll post my number on the chat. Yeah, and then also for Carol, we're encouraging you to reach out to us. You've had her minimum, the minimum time that she takes for these consultations is 3 hours, because as you can see, 1 hour. With 1 hour, you still have many questions, and because she has a lot of depth and experience, please take advantage of the fact that she's part of us. We are all girls of Brother John, so let's connect with each other. Let's support each other within this community. Her contact details are on the screen. And in case of anything else, just feel free to reach out to the alumni officials. Thank you so much, ladies, for taking your time on a Friday evening. We'll now end the webinar. Asanteni sana. Have a great evening. For those of you outside of Kenya, have a great day. Have a good weekend. Oh, Carol, I see you want to speak.
Before you end, I want to advise anyone who is holding an insurance policy and you are employed, please go get your tax certificate and get your rebates. It is not a favor, it is a government relief. So please get your 15% off for any policy that you hold. All right? Yes, please remember that.
You see,
Have
I
a
did
good
know
night.
15%. Thanks, Carol. Every time you speak, I'm like, what? Where was all this information? So thank you. Thanks for adding that. We'll definitely look for it.
15% of your contribution must come to your payee every month. So
okay. Thank you so much. Ladies, have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Really. And thank you, Carol.
Thank you so much.
We're honored
Thank you.
to have you.
Bye.
Asante sana, Carol.
Thank you, Eva, even for organizing this. God bless you.
Thank you.